Hey guys, so today I'm filming a chit chat get ready with me using the Too Faced Everything Nice palette. This was their holiday 2014 palette, which I'm so excited to have. So I'm going to be using this today for eyes and face. Here are what the lovely eyeshadows look like, and here are what the face products look like. So like I said, I will be using this palette for face and eyes. I actually filmed this get ready with me yesterday, but the lighting was awful, so hopefully today turns out better. And I also am going to have a little review on the palette at the end, which I forgot yesterday, so I'm kind of glad to be doing this over again. But the packaging of this I think is kind of cheesy, and then I think it's kind of cute at the same time because it reminds me of Eloise at the Plaza. If you guys have ever read that book or watched that movie, the packaging is very reminiscent of Eloise, but I much preferred the 2013 All I Want for Christmas pink and gold chevron, but this is still pretty too. So I'm actually going to be using a couple different things that are not new, but they're just outside of my go-to routines that I usually do in these get ready with me's. So we are just going to get started with my face. So for face, I have two primers. First would be the NYX Angel Veil, which is supposed to be a drugstore dupe of the Hourglass Mineral Veil. And this is actually pretty expensive for a drugstore primer. I think it's about $15. I got mine for 40% off, so I didn't pay that much. This is what it looks like. And I'm just going to apply this all over my face. I've only used this one a couple times so far, but it feels really soft on the skin, so that's nice. Next, I'm going to use a primer on my large pores, and I'm going to be using a sample of the Smashbox Photo Finish Pore Minimizing Primer. I've heard good things about this. I do have a sample of Benefit Porefessional, so I'm going to be comparing them side to side, not in this video, but to try to figure out which one works best for me. But I've tried both of them and neither of them completely erase my pores, but that's a little bit too much to expect from a primer to cover them up completely, but I do really need one, so let me know which one is your favorite. And I honestly have never found a holy grail primer, so if you have large pores or oily skin, please let me know which primers are your favorite. Next for foundation, I'm going to use the Revlon Colorstay Whipped in the shade 150 Buff. I'm about halfway done with this. It is not my favorite foundation at all, but I do want to try to use it up this year, so I'm just going to dot it all over my face. And I usually blend it in with a beauty sponge, but today I think I'm just going to use a regular foundation brush and see how that goes. Then I'm going to take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus and spray it on my brush and pat off the excess a little bit to hopefully help my foundation blend into the skin easier. The texture of this foundation is so weird, and it always junks up my brush. I have to wash my brush after every single time that I use it, whereas my regular liquid foundations, I usually wash my brush once a week. But I have to wash it every single time, at most every other time that I use it, because like the thick texture just gunks up and like separates the bristles in my brush, even though this is a really dense brush. But the coverage of this foundation is nice. I just much prefer a liquid foundation to a cream. Next, I'm going to use my NYX Dark Circle Corrector in the shade Fair to correct my under eyes. I'm going to apply it with the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. So I'm just going to take some of this right under my lash line and into my inner corner. This is not a product that I drag down to the triangle because this is just a corrector. And this is actually a very creamy consistency, so it might be better for dry skin, but it works for me with oily skin, but I just have to make sure that I set it really well. But I think this does a nice job. If you had super dark circles, it might not have enough coverage, but for me, with just a little bit of darkness, it covers and corrects really, really well for me. Next, I'm going to take the MAC ProLongwear Concealer and apply it on a couple blemishes. I have the shade NC15, by the way, so I'm just going to take that little bit and dot it on my face where I see any large blemishes. Next, I'm taking my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer in the Neutralizer shade, which is the more yellow tone, and I am highlighting the center of my face. as well as underneath my eyes in the upside down triangle shape. Like so. I love the sponge on this. I think it's really easy to apply the concealer that way. And today I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to blend it all out with my Real Techniques contour brush. So I'm going to start with the under eye. I usually use a sponge, so that's why it's a little bit different for me, but I really wanted to try it out because I know a lot of people love using the tapered Sigma brush for this step. So that was actually my first time using these two things together, and I actually really like it. I think it looks really nice, so I'm excited that I tried that out. So now on to powder to set my under eyes in the highlighted areas of my face. I'm going to use my MAC Mineralize Skin Finish Natural in the shade Light with my e.l.f. small tapered brush. I'm just trying to finish this up. I'm just on the outside parts now, which is exciting because this is not my favorite powder. I think this would be a nice powder for the face for a dry skin or normal skin person, but it just doesn't do anything for my oily skin. So this is how I'm using it up. Also because I got a shade that's too light for me. I should have gone with Light Plus, but it works well for highlighting and it does have decent coverage. So now onto my face powder. I'm going to use the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat Powder Foundation in this shade number 1 Ivory with my e.l.f. powder brush just to set my foundation. I'm not going to apply too much, but I do want to make sure that my whole face is set. Just to make sure that my face and neck match, I like to take some powder and bronzer on my neck. So I'm going to be taking the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powder foundation in the shade number 2 Nude on my neck, because sometimes with the foundation and powder my face can go a little bit darker. So I'm going to take this little bit of a darker powder, blend it on my neck with the Real Techniques powder brush, which is perfect for applying products to the neck because it is pretty darn large of a brush. Then I'm going to go into my bronzer, which is Benefit's Hoola, the best neutral tone bronzer for fair skin, and it will look more cool tone on medium skin. So I'm going to take the Real Techniques brush in there and just blend it down onto my neck. Then I'm going to take my e.l.f. stippling brush back in with Benefit Hoola and apply bronzer to the rest of my face. So I like to start in the hollows of my cheeks. And a stippling brush works so well for my fair skin with bronzer to make sure that I don't go too overboard. It can still happen, but it's less likely to happen if I use a stippling brush. Then I just take some around my hairline because I do have a little bit of a large forehead. So now I'm going to dive into the face products in the Too Faced Everything Nice palette. And I'm going to be using the Chocolate Soleil bronzer to contour. I'm so excited because I've never been able to try out this bronzer before. I don't have it full size and I haven't gotten it in any other Too Faced palette or set. So I'm so excited to try it out. This is the original shade, so it is a little bit deep. So I'm going to pat off a little bit of the excess onto my hand so it won't get too crazy overboard. And then just apply it to chisel my cheeks. I can smell the cocoa powder right now. That is so cool. And again, tapping off the excess on the back of my hand, which I like never do, but I found that I need to do it with this bronzer because it is pretty deep for my skin tone. But it is really nice formula. Then I'm taking my Real Techniques blush brush and just going over that to help soften it a little bit. So for blush, I'm going to be using this shade down here, Papa Don't Peach, with my Sigma F15 Duo Fiber Blush Brush, just so I don't get overboard with blush. So what's really funny about this blush is that I have been wanting this for forever. So Too Faced used to sell single blushes in vintage style packaging, like the balm. It had pinup girls on it. It was really beautiful. And Papa Don't Peach was one of the shades, but then it was discontinued. I think it was discontinued like 4 years ago before I really got into makeup, and I was never able to get my hands on it. So I was ecstatic to see that it was in this palette and that I finally got to test out a blush that I've been lusting after forever. So it is just a shimmery peach color, and I am wearing it on my cheeks, and I think it is just as gorgeous as I imagined. Next, I'm going to take the Inner Light highlighter and the Real Techniques setting brush and apply this to the top of my cheekbones. This brush is so perfect for highlighter because it is so precise. Then once again, I'm going to take that Real Techniques blush brush and soften over the cheek products so they aren't too crazy intense. And that is the face all done. So I'm going to do my brows off camera and also one eye, and then come back to show you how to create the look on the other eye. Alright guys, so now moving on to eyes, but the product that I used for my brows was the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Taupe. So now into eyes, I do have a primer and a base. So my primer is the Milani eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to apply that from lash line to brow bone. Then for a base, I'm going to use the Maybelline Color Tattoo in the shade Just Beige. This is a dupe for the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. This was limited edition, so I would recommend you use the Soft Ochre. This is really just going to neutralize my lids and create a sticky base for the shadows to go on top of. And I'm going to apply this all over the lid, into the crease, and fade it up towards the brow. So now going into the shadows, first I'm going to take this shade Fond of You and my Sigma E40 tapered blending brush, and I'm going to apply this as my transition shade. So just taking a light layer of this and going right above the crease area and windshield wiper motions back and forth. I just need a light dusting here. Next, I'm going to go in with the lid shade, which is this color Honey Pot. And Honey Pot is also in their Natural Eyes palette if you don't have this holiday palette. And I'm going to apply with my MAC 239 flat shader brush and just pack this color onto the lid. You could also use your finger. This is a really pigmented metallic shade that has almost no fallout. So I'm going to take it in the first part of my crease as well. So now I'm going to go in with the crease color, and for that I'm going to be using the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. In this palette there isn't really a matte crease shade. There's a transition shade and an outer corner shade. So the Chocolate Soleil works really well, and I'm going to apply it with my Sigma E25 blending brush right into my crease. And taking some of that in the outer corner as well. For the outer corner, I'm going to use this matte deep brown called Knockout with my Sigma E30 pencil brush, and I'm going to apply it just into the outer corner. So just stamp it like a winged liner almost, but then take it up into the crease as well, and then just really make sure to blend this. And I'm going to take my tapered blending brush and then just go over that as well. Lastly, for highlight, I'm going to use this matte cream color called Heaven. Again, I think this might be in one of their other palettes, and I'm going to apply that under my brow bone with the Sigma E45 small tapered blending brush. And just take this right under the brow. So now I'm going to apply my eyeliner and mascara and come back to show you what's going on my lips. So for eyeliner and mascara, I use the Maybelline Line Stiletto Liquid Liner, my Rimmel Exaggerate eyeliner in the Nude, and I have my mascara trio of the Maybelline Colossal Cat Eyes, the Maybelline Falsies, and the Rimmel Lash Accelerator. So this palette came with a mini Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, but I haven't opened this up yet and used it, so I won't be able to tell you about that today, unfortunately. But now I want to move on to the lip color. So this is a lipstick that I think will flatter this look really well. And this is a NARS Audacious lipstick in the shade Raquel. I have a review on these lipsticks. I'll have it linked down below. And this is what Raquel looks like. A really pretty peachy beige I think will complement this look. And this is the finished look. What do you guys think? So I really do like the way that this look came out. And now I want to give you a little mini review on this palette. But this palette was a great value. I think it was about $52. But it comes with 20 eyeshadows, 2 blushes, a bronzer, a highlight, and a mini mascara. all from like high-end quality. So I think that this is a really good value. I think most holiday palettes and sets are. So I do think that the value for this is wonderful. I like the packaging, but like I said, I preferred the 2013 pink and gold chevron, but I do still think this is nice. But this is significantly thicker than last time because it has this slot with some mini brushes. Now, I don't like these brushes. I tried them, but they just aren't what I would prefer. I would rather use my regular brushes. So instead of these brushes, I wish they had just left that out and made the packaging a little bit thinner and included maybe one of their Too Faced La Creme lipsticks. So for the quality of these products, I think that they are phenomenal. Some of these shades have a little bit of fallout and some have a little bit of chunky glitter, but I think the quality overall is really great of the mattes and of the shimmers. So for the face products, this is my favorite part of the palette. Last year's palette had 2 blushes and 2 bronzers. I think this year they made a good choice of doing 2 blushes, bronzer, and a highlight. I love that you have a pink and a peach blush so that you will have a blush for any other eye combination that you will come up with. I think that was a really great idea on their part. I love that they included the chocolate Soleil because, like I said, I haven't been able to try that, and I also have never tried any of their highlighters. So I love the face products they put in here. I think that was absolutely the perfect idea of a pink blush, a peach blush, a bronzer, and a highlighter. I absolutely love the face product part. These do kick up a little bit of powder, but not that much. Not as much as the Lorac eyeshadows do, but these are really pigmented and they actually blend really well, and I found the same for the eyeshadows. Very pigmented, but they are also quite blendable, but not so blendable like the Lorac shadows that can blend away. Overall, I'm not sure if this palette is a must-have because the colors of the eyeshadows aren't super unique, but I'm super happy to have it. I don't regret it at all. It is kind of a collector's item. I kicked myself in the butt for not getting the 2013 palette, so I made myself get this one, and I think it's gorgeous, and I think the colors are beautiful, but not super unique. But you don't really need unique shadows all the time because this includes a lot of wearable shades. Also, not all of these shades are exclusive to this palette. For instance, this Honey Pot shade is in their Natural Eyes, and I also think that shade Heaven is in another one of their palettes as well. So these shadows are not all exclusive to this palette. So if there was one that you like, you might be able to find it in another palette. But overall, I think that this is an amazing product. I like the packaging. I love the products inside. I think the quality is really nice. So I haven't been able to play around with it too much and come up with that many different looks. So please leave me a comment down below of your favorite looks with this palette and what shadows you like to wear together. And I hope that you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me and review of the Too Faced Everything Nice palette. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.